Anything? Hello and welcome to the TrexMix podcast, episode 1. Today I have Panda Jenn joining me. Panda, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
Pretty good. Do you need anything? Coffee, tea? Drag you out to the desert? Let the vultures eat you?
I got my tea, thank you.
All right, perfection. I don't like tea though. That's the only sad part about everything. I am not a tea drinker. So
I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee. It makes me sick, and yet I like cappuccino. So
That's so funny though, because like I had so many occasions where people offer me teas. They're like, "Oh, you would love this flavor. You'd like this and that." I'm like, I just don't. It's like coffee. I can't stand the aftertaste. Like, if something has a bad aftertaste or even close to it, I can't. I don't eat it. I just can't.
uh, if you ever want to buy me a coffee, caramel frappuccino at Starbucks.
Oh, is it those little bottles? Like, don't they have like the little bottles of those at like stores?
I think you can. I've never bought any. I just usually get them straight from the restaurant.
I don't get to go to Starbucks very often. I like their cocoa though. Like they have probably the best
Oh, I
cocoa.
know.
Like
Especially when they do the pumpkin spice.
I know my inner white girl starts screaming when the pumpkin spice comes out. Oh my
No,
goodness.
as soon as our local grocery store starts putting out their pumpkin spice, I just clean them out of it. Oh my god, it's pumpkin spice!
So
I'm literally doing. I'm not literally. I'm doing cartwheels. Like it's pumpkin spice season.
please do cartwheels and let somebody record it. Just say girl has mental
I
breakdown at
can't
store.
actually do cartwheels, but it's an exaggeration. But that's pretty much like my brain screaming.
So if you guys don't know who Panda Jenn is, shame on you. But Panda Jenn is a artist of many, many years and many, many talents. She does comics. She does various other styles of artwork. But honestly, let her describe herself. Panda.
Well, basically, I'm never good at this part because I
It's all
never feel
good.
like there's much to describe. But basically, I'm an artist. It's, you know, I've been in this fandom since 2001. Although I was pretty much born a furry. Um, I found the fandom in 1998, and I was kind of a silent
Hmm.
lurker, and eventually decided to make a persona, Panda Jenn, in 2001, and things kind of just went from there. And I I want to say, I feel like no matter how I say this, I'm going to sound like I'm full of myself or something. But
No, I mean
um,
that's what we're here
but
for.
in the last like 20 years or so, I've actually become somewhat established through my work, my artwork.
Hmm.
Um, in 1993, I started the comic Simply Panda Jenn.
Hmm.
Was my well, not my first web comic. I had a Star Wars web comic before that that was extremely short lived, and I did some artwork, and I actually did some work for the World of Vicky Fox comics, if anyone is familiar with that. So sometime during that, um, so I was kind of doing comics around that, and then sometime in around 2010, I decided to reboot my old web comic, the old Simply Panda Jenn, and make it better. So I contacted my writer Ross Snyder and asked him if he wanted to. He and a friend of his used to run a Minerva Mink fan site called Minerva's Pawn Site Haven, and I found him through there some years ago, some years before, and I found a little fan comic he did on the site, and I thought, this is so perfect, and I contacted him and said, would you at all be interested in writing scripts for my web comic? And he did, so we both decided to work out stories and beef out the characters a little bit, as he would put it. Um, and by the end of it, we had a somewhat readable comic. So the so the reboot went into production around between 2010 2011, and then um, I got it was up for about a year, and then some personal stuff happened, and I decided to put the comic on hiatus for a while. So fast forward to now, 2019. Um, that I decided to continue it, and then that's pretty much where we are now. So
Now, if you don't mind me actually asking, I would love to do a small game with you if that's all right.
okay.
So I have up here, and if you have it up too, that's fine. But I want to let everyone see what they would like to see. I have your wiki for up.
Uh-oh.
So I just want to know
Should I be
how.
worried?
I actually, if you don't know what that is, it's just a little Wikipedia site for various
Oh no,
people in the
I'm on Wiki.
fandom.
Oh, you're telling that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you know the people with the little headphones or the speakers? Yay, hi there. um, no, but in general, I'd love to see like what's if everything's legit or if maybe some things should be edited. I'd love to hear. It's kind of like a Panda Gen versus Wikipedia thing.
Okay.
So here's what we have. Panda Jen, real name Jennifer Conveyor. I'm gonna say that wrong.
Carnivele.
Carnivele, born October 5th, 1981, is an artist known for her webcomic Simply Panda Jen. In the furry community, she is a panda. Is that
So
all?
far, so good.
History. Panda Jen was born exact same thing above. It says it twice. The exact
Oh Lord.
same thing. In Riverside,
Okay.
California. Growing up, resides in Hermit, California, or
Hammett.
Hemet,
Hammett.
Hermit. I
It's
can't
okay.
pronounce. I'm so bad right
No, it's
now.
okay. It's okay. It's Hammett. Hemet.
She was introduced.
Which is pretty much the armpit of Southern California. So go ahead.
She was introduced to the fandom in 1998. But well, okay. So what's the 1998 thing? Because I've heard you say a ton of years, but I never heard anything about 1998.
1998 was, I mean, okay, I have been a furry, like I was born a furry.
Mm-hmm.
I drew little anthropomorphic animals since I was 2,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of went on from there. And and I watched all the shows, and I was very inspired by like Don Bluth and Disney and Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and all that stuff. And that
Mm-hmm.
just so finally, when we finally got internet access in this house at 1998, that is when I found, oh my gosh, there's a whole group of people that love this stuff, too. Oh my god, look at all this art. Oh my god. So but I kind of lurked silently for a while. I didn't really get I wasn't like right away, oh hey, I'm a furry too. I was kind of shy, and didn't. So about 2001 was when I finally created my persona and dove into it.
Mm-hmm. And so for art, Jen's style employs the cute Disney/Don Bluth-like character designs such as the 1990s television programs Tailspin and Animaniacs. She was briefly an artist for the World of Vicky Fox, but now draws artwork of them. Jenny started her webcomic in 2004 named Simply Panda Jen, which lasted until 2013 before taking hiatus, returning in 2011 briefly before going on hiatus again, and then returning a final time in 2019 with the push of her community.
That's pretty accurate. See, and I've been saying that the comic started in 2003, and that's so. I, honest to God, I don't even know anymore. It was somewhere between 2003 and 2004. Let's just leave it at that.
Nice. And so the last part of it, before the links, just says Second Life. At one time, Panda Jen had dipped her toes into the virtual pool to see how it would be, but it didn't last. Armed with a new account, Jen plans to keep this one around. Her avatar is a female kimono panda matching
I think it's kimono. Yeah, it's
kimono
just whatever the style of avatar is.
matching 99.9% of to her persona.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I do apologize for reading that like so butchered.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You did good. You did good.
I'm one of those people that's like, so if you give me something to read really quick, I'll read through it and be like, all right, cool, I know what it means, and then it's like, all right, read it out loud. Duh.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I know. I have a hard when I have to read in front of somebody, or if I'm reading it in my head, I'm okay. But if I have to read in front of somebody, or if I'm being recorded or something, I'm just like a deer in the headlights.
I always find that funny how people just get really nervous when they're either being recorded or they're about to like be live, and that's just I guess it's just I don't know because you just feel like oh okay now people can spy on me more than normal. It's like now
I'm like
normal
one of those
people.
people that, if I have to create like a voicemail message, I do it like 100 times over until I find one I
Hmm.
like.
Oh, I don't blame you. Like that's why I never really started YouTube until more this year because the past few years or Twitch or anything, the past few years it just either was really half-assed or really just
Mm,
didn't care, didn't put any effort into it. Because
yeah.
you just get more nervous about it. Because I remember my dad when I was young, he taught me about this like little golf trick thing. So we were like at one of those sports stores where you could like test putters, like like a little patch of grass, you can
Oh
hit the
yeah, I've
ball into
seen
the hole,
those.
and so he literally goes up to like another kid that was like learning to putt too, and he goes, "Hey, I'll give you $10 if you can like putt into there." He goes, "Okay," and he like putts and completely misses the shot. But he had made like
Oh.
two others before that, and he's like, "How did I miss?" And he goes, "Let me tell you something. Just like how my son is, you get nervous when you're put on the spot." He goes, "When act like no one's around you, you're like star, you're a big old star. But then when people start watching you or being recorded, then
Oh
you're
my
like,
gosh.
you just
It
shut
makes me
down."
wonder how these YouTubers do it, especially the ones that do the live streams.
Hmm.
It's like earlier this afternoon, I was watching Pineapple Fox and Beta and a bunch of them trying to build a computer. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm going, how do you do it? There's no. I'd be the person trying to avoid the camera.
In
I
general,
just, oh
well,
my
it's
gosh,
like,
I'm
mhm.
so envious. Oh my gosh.
Well, I think it's funny too, cause like even Majira and like all the super popular people that are like fur-based YouTubers, and then there's some that are furries, but they don't let their channel like overrun it with that. In general, they
Yeah.
just a lot of them don't like to live stream. If you like, most of them are video people, or they do their little apps or their Twitters and stuff because they don't. Like with a video, you can record and do stuff over and over. If you're being live streamed, you say one bad thing or do something stupid, it lives on the internet forever.
Oh, I know. I know. And you can't get out from under it. You can't escape it. I should know. I've been there.
Oh yeah, I know the feels, and and I tell that to people too. It's just like I don't blame you for not liking live streaming. I did live streaming for like a year and a half, and like I started getting bored of it because you worry about numbers. They're like, oh, don't look at the numbers, you're fine. I'm like, I've seen people stream for 2 years with like zero people watching, like
Yeah.
no joke, and I'm like, I can't live like that. It's not really my hobby just to have a video game on just to be spectated, but then no one's there. It's like,
Now,
okay, I could just be playing this for fun and enjoy my life.
now I'm a pretty new YouTuber. Okay.
Hmm.
I haven't quite. I mean, I just started like I think earlier this week. I mean, I think it's been like 6 days
Hmm.
since I've launched my channel. And there's not much on there right now, but I'd like to make something out of it. I mean, I'm not looking to become a YouTube celeb or a popufur anymore. I'd love to be a popufur, don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but I'm just trying to have fun and get my brand out there and just experimenting and seeing what sticks. I'm not even worried about. I mean, maybe a little. I mean, yeah, I'd like to get a nice. I'd like to get um, a lot of subscribers. That'd be awesome. Um,
Hmm.
but otherwise, as far as live streaming and stuff goes, um, as far as the live streaming and stuff goes, I'd like to. I have intention of trying that again. Art streams. Um, I have a Pictaro set up. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get the video on there and stuff. But there'll be live streams as far as art. I might live stream, I don't know, some Second Life stuff. Just, I mean, once I get my first suit, which, I should be getting soon, I have the head. I'm just waiting for the partial to be made.
Hmm.
I'll do some fursuiting vlogs and things like that. But, I mean, other than that, it's just, good old fun.
Oh
I
yeah.
have no, I have no expectations. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to set myself up for anything. I'm just trying to have some fun.
Oh
and
yeah.
try to reach as many people on as many platforms as possible.
And that's always a struggle too. It's just because, like, to mention in general about when people are like, oh, should I start a YouTube channel or should I not? Should I live stream or not? It all has to do with your mentality. It's like, do you want to go into this wanting to be famous automatically, or do you want to put in the time and work? Because I get it, no one really wants to put the time, the work, or anything
No,
into
they
it,
just expect to be popular right away,
and it happens once
which
in a
they end up.
while. But
Yeah, I'm sorry.
but it's all good. I was just saying because it happens so often where people are like, I want to be famous like this. Like, oh, this person filmed a video and they were famous overnight. Blah blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but you want to know what happens to most of those people? They fade out within about a couple months, and
Mhm.
then nobody
I mean, they're
cares about
basically
them.
just setting themselves up for failure,
Mhm.
and it doesn't never ends well. I mean, there's the exceptions that they get real lucky, but those people, they have to post content continuously to keep those views coming, and I imagine that's exhausting and that's a lot of work. And like I said, I envy those people that have the patience and know-how and energy to do that.
Mhm. And that's what I've told people. I'm like, just go out and just be yourself. Don't overwork yourself. Don't go into this thinking like this and that. Like, honestly, to tell you this to people, as much as I'm one of those people that's like, oh, if I got popular or anything, I'd be happy kind of thing. But at the same time, there's so much worse things that come with it because you have times where if you show yourself or anything in like a convention or doing anything, you can get
Mhm.
people to, oh, I want I want a picture with this and with this. And then if you're not used to that, you'll get really tired of it
I
and end up
know.
hating everyone. And I'm like, I wouldn't
Or
mind going somewhere and saying, oh, hey, I
Mhm.
like your stuff. Cool. But then, of course, you're going to get the people that are like, you are God to me, and so you just got to be like, it's cool. It's cool. I promise. I'm just a human.
uh, or that poor person that people just will not stop taking pictures of them, and all they want to do is take their fursuit head off and get some air.
Oh yeah.
I went to an anime convention in 2003, 2002. It was some years back, and there was somebody in the cutest. Um, oh God, what was her name? I can't even remember anymore. It was from the little fox thing from Inuyasha.
Mhm.
Um, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Oh God, I
yeah.
hate myself because I can't remember.
You're good. But what was going on with
I'm
them?
a fan. I haven't seen it in a while, but anyway, she had this wonderful, and it was basically a fursuit of this character, and everybody was. I mean, people were lining up to take pictures with her. Poor thing, and all and when I finally got a second to talk to her and say, I really like your costume. I mean, how did you make this? How long did it take you?
Mhm.
And I remember her telling me, "Oh, thank God, I finally get to take this head off. I'm dying in here." And it's just, but that's what I imagine, that these poppy furs who are at conventions, and people just want to take their pictures, and I get that, and that's awesome, but I just, all I can think about is, God, they must be miserable. All they want to do is go and take their head suit, their little head off, and just get some fresh air for a second. My gosh, get a drink of water and hydrate.
And but that's just what it comes with, though. It's like you make a super awesome cosplay, and this is obviously I'm gonna have to say it like this, and don't shun me, anyone, but I've noticed it more with like the female like cosplayers. If they're wearing something either popular or a little bit more showy offy, I guess I could say it, they will tend to have guys like, oh, I need a picture with this, or I need this, and so it'll look cool on my Facebook so my mom can thumb it up and be like, cool, sweetie. Glad you got to meet Mercy from Overwatch. And
Oh
I'm
my
I'm
gosh.
guilty of that though, but the thing is though, I was really nice because I was actually in California a couple times to go watch Overwatch like live, and one times I
Mhm.
went, there was like two cosplayers, like one for Mercy and Diva, and I was like, I
Um,
need a picture with at least one of them. So I did. I got like a nice, side by side picture, but I asked her beforehand. I was like, hey, do you mind if I get a quick picture or whatever? She's like, sure. So I did one where it's just like me standing next to her, and then the other one, I was like, can you do one where you're like rezzing me up? And she's like, absolutely. So I'm like
Aw.
flat on the floor, and she's like doing the little hand gesture, and I was like, oh, I'm a nerd, but I don't care. I really just
Oh
don't care at this point.
my gosh. Um, I, the first cosplay I ever made myself. Actually, my Nana helped me make it
Mhm.
for me. Um, it was Tai Chi from Digimon. Tai Chi Yagami. Oh God, see, it's
Mhm.
been so long since I've watched any of this stuff. You could tell. Anyway, Tai Kamiya for those who are more familiar with the dub. But that was like I had the goggles and it was a real, and I can't sew worth a crap. I mean, basically, I mean I can sew like little things. Basically I just took a blue T-shirt and sewed the stars and the pockets and the buttons on it, and that's about the extent of my
Mhm.
sewing ability. I had the goggles, the headband, the gloves, and all that stuff. And um, it was, I mean, I didn't get a lot of people asking, can we take pictures? But I was so proud of it because it was my first costume that I made. The very first character I ever, I mean, other than that, because other than that, I would, um, sorry, brain fart.
You're good.
Other than that, I would just borrow costumes from friends. So, like, the very first cosplay I ever did was female Ranma for at Anime Expo 2002. Um, and then and that was real last minute because at first I was like, no, I'm not going to cosplay, and I was watching my friends get their cosplays together, and I'm like, I want to cosplay. So she had an old Ranma cosplay that she had worn the previous year, so she let me use
Mhm.
that. And then the following years, another friend had this really cool Mimi cosplay, and she had like a plushie that she sewed herself of the Digimon, and she had worn it the year before, and I asked her if I could borrow it for the convention. So I went as Mimi, again from Digimon. I was pretty obsessed with Digimon at this point, so um, I went as Mimi, and
Mhm.
with that, all kinds of people wanted to take pictures. So, but yeah, I just anime conventions are so much fun. Just I haven't been to one in a long time. But
And yeah, I mean in general, like I typically just don't go to a bunch of stuff like that because I'm not a fan. I don't mind big crowds and stuff. So, like that's never the issue, but it's just I'm like I don't know because there's half the times I go and like I feel like they're really just ignored in the sea of people, and I'm just like, 'cause,
I
you
would go
know,
with
like,
a group of friends. I just
mhm,
go with a small group of friends, and then I had a bunch of friends that I had met at other conventions that I would meet there too, and it was a slightly larger group, and we take pictures and have fun. And I really, honestly, I go to a convention. I'm there to shop.
mhm, yeah, and mhm,
I spend most of my time at the dealer's hall.
mhm. And that's the funny thing too. I actually went to the dealer's hall when I was at my first convention, and I went there with like $100. I was like, I can't buy anything here.
Yeah, I remember like I would do commissions for like a year just to save up
Mhm.
for getting into the convention and having plenty of money and all that.
Mhm. And it always makes me laugh too, because there was like a ton of them that are like, "Oh, I can draw your Sona," blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't have one.
Oh,
And
now I've never been to a. Oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just say because it's funny too, because a lot of people ask me that because I'm like in the community, but I'm not like I don't have a Sona, and I'm not really like that active when it comes to like socializing or doing this or that. Like I'm on the All for Radio show as a staff member, but
Hmm.
like I'm like, "God, I don't really have a Sona because I just I'm just kind of here for the people. I'm more here.
We need to sit down and figure out a stoner for you.
I actually,
um,
well, my name is based off the T-Rex, and so right now, as it sits, I'm like, I would be more than happy to be one, but I don't have a Sona for it because I'm not just gonna be like, oh, I'm a T-Rex,
uh,
and what about the T-Rex?
I'll bet it
Nothing.
wouldn't take. I bet it wouldn't take much to get someone to commission someone to do a T Rex
Hmm.
or something. Hell, I'd do it.
I would love that. I mean,
Yeah.
because I've always loved dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are like, even like
Oh,
when I
I
was a kid,
know.
like, because here's
Oh
something
my god.
funny. So the first time I ever said my first words was during Jurassic Park, and then the funny part is throughout my childhood I had this like plush T-Rex, literally
Aw.
everywhere I went, and there's like pictures of it if I could find it when I was a child. I would literally carry it with me like many places like as I would let me, because
Aw.
yeah, just in general dinosaurs were always fascinating because I
Oh
wanted to
god,
be
I was obsessed with dinosaurs when I was little.
mhm,
Oh, and it was because of Land Before Time. As soon as I saw that, I was just, oh my god, dinosaurs, dinosaurs! Oh my god! I remember one birthday, my grandparents went. They used to take a lot of business trips down to Oregon, and there's a place there called the Dinosaur or the Prehistoric Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those touristy places, and they came back with all kinds of dinosaur toys for me
Oh.
for my birthday. Oh my god! Oh no, I still love
I think a
dinosaurs.
lot of
My
kids,
god, I was nuts about them when I was a kid.
I think in general, everyone had a thing with dinosaurs when they're kids, just because they're kind of,
I think so.
they're just cool. Like, I mean,
They are. What's your favorite dinosaur?
obviously, it's in the name.
T-Rex.
No, I would say second up to that would be the raptor, though, because raptors have
Oh, the
always interested
raptor.
me. But like, I just don't know. I guess it's just the idea of a T-Rex to be like, yeah, he has like tiny arms and stuff, but he can literally just destroy everything. He can literally step
Oh
on you
man.
or like eat you or just destroy an entire like town within seconds.
My favorite dinosaur always kind of changed, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I remember. I know I was crazy about the tricerat. Well, I like the triceratops. The
Mhm.
pterodactyl, I think, is the one I love the
Oh yeah,
most.
those are always, just interesting to me. Like I was like, a flying dinosaur. Why not?
Mm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I back on conventions, I've never been to a furry con. I've been
Mm.
wanting to go for years. It's just a matter of money and transportation and all that stuff.
Yeah, those are not cheap to go to at all.
No. And I'm waiting for my fursuit, so.
And that's always what I've never liked when people are like, oh, these are a bunch of people that like do this and that and like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, it's so much more different because so when I went, I only went for like basically a Friday into like a Saturday afternoon, and then I bolted. I wasn't there very long. I was just
Aw.
there to visit, and that's all. Because I was there with like family visiting Colorado. I was like, yeah, you have a free day to go do whatever. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang out in Colorado, and so we went there, and just in general, it just seemed like a big meetup of friends more than anything, and just a way
Mhm.
to make other friends and buy people's art and get cool stuff and go see a bunch of different little events going on. And that, like, as bad a rap as like furs get and stuff, like, it's just a
Yeah.
big like meetup. Like, yeah, there's some dirty stuff to it, but I'm like, everything does. Have you, you can go to an anime convention. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cosplayers that'll,
Oh
still
yeah.
wear their stuff and
See,
end up on
there's too many people
certain
that
stuff.
have their introduction to furries was um that CSI episode.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
literally a sexualized
Oh,
episode.
which and my mom, I remember I told my mom,
Hmm.
I'm a furry and I'm into this, and her introduction to furries was an episode of Entourage.
Hmm.
And I remember I'm telling her this, and she goes, you're not into like, isn't that sexual? Isn't that all sexual stuff? And I have to sit there and explain to her, no, it's not. It's not sexual. I mean, yes, there is stuff,
Yeah,
but a
like.
lot of it is artists and just people that like animals, and
Uh-huh.
there's like really there's nothing malicious or dirty about it.
And
Yeah,
that's what I tell people. It's like it has to just like in anything there's gonna be like that. You know what I mean? There's gonna
yeah.
be
Any
people.
fandom really, there's always going to be the Rule 34. You know.
Yeah, and you can't hide that, and you can't be like, oh well, well, da da da. I'm like, of course not. Like, I'm not gonna go up to a football guy and be like, not everybody roots for your sports team, and then of course they're gonna get all, what? No one, blah blah. I'm like, that's just like,
Yeah.
honestly, to me at this point, most people except for probably like some sports, I swear to God, it's more like a boomer fan, like a boomer fandom for them. It's
Boomer.
like their cosplay is
I'll
a
say
football
I'm a
jersey at
sports
work.
fan. I'm a sports fan. I like the
Mhm.
Dodgers. I like the Lakers, and I love the New Orleans Saints.
Mhm.
Um, but um,
Sports.
sports.
No, I mean, I'm a sports guy. Like, I like sports, and I don't sit down and watch an entire event. Like, I'm just too ADHD for that. But like, no, I have some teams to root for. Like, most of mine are Dallas because I'm in North Texas, born and raised.
Ah,
So that's the
oh,
sad part. Because like, you like tell someone like anything Dallas, it's like, oh, the pack of cheaters and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm from there.
oh.
That's just a hometown thing. Like, I get it. People are different, but come
It's
on.
like if you mention the Patriots. Oh, that Tom Brady and I happen to be a Tom Brady fangirl,
Mm.
so I can't really, I'm the one defending, going, he's not a cheater. Shut up.
And I don't know, like in general, I just feel like with sports, it's people always need their hobbies or their little escape from life, and so everybody has it. Whether you're furry, whether you're someone into sports, maybe you're someone who likes art or watches a lot of movies and cartoons. Like everybody has their escape, and
Exactly.
that's what I tell people. Like it's just a little escape thing. Like some people
Mm-hmm.
are like, oh well, I do this and I didn't have escape, blah blah. I'm like, I get it, but it's easier to cope. Like it's way easier to cope than just
Mm-hmm.
having to take pills
Exactly.
or
I
to
mean, for
do
for
anything.
maybe a few hours a day. I mean,
Hmm.
and it's been a shitty day. Excuse me. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah, you're good. This is
um,
a PG-13.
okay, cool. It's been like a shitty day, and all you want to do is get on the computer, play with your
Hmm.
friends, or play a video game or whatever. Um, for those few hours a day before you go to bed, just before you pass out for the night, it's like you've got that escape, and you've got that one place where you feel accepted and loved, and and nothing bad can happen to you. So I totally get that. That's
Hmm.
exactly what fandoms are.
It is, and that's in general, like I was never really gonna get too much involved or interested in it, but it's just going over. It's like, yeah, I've met a lot of people in it for the certain factors, as I'll say it, but past that, you get past like that, and you actually meet a lot of cool people. Like I've actually met more casual friends like here than I had like in the esports and like working in esports and stuff like that. Like, because a
Oh
lot of them
yeah.
would come and go and only be there for this and that. But then I had like a lot of people even just here. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I was talking to even Gurr the other day. I was like, "Do you like wasabi?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, he was. I was like, he was like, "Can I send you this bottle of wasabi?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." So, and I don't have friends like that, doing anything else. I don't have someone I could be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you like wasabi?" Yeah, okay. You say that anywhere else, they're gonna be like, "What? What? Why
Now,
are you asking me?"
now you said I think remember you told me in a conversation once that you were talking about esports,
Hmm.
that you had told me you did some announcing for like
Yes.
tournaments and stuff.
What it was that I was more of just kind of watching people's VODs and stuff, that means to watch playback of various
Hmm.
games and stuff, and I had to like study all that and give like coaching aspects to it. And in general, I was like, it's kind of boring. And then I just started doing the podcast stuff and interviewing people. That took off really well, but I got bored of it because people were just not reliable. Like I
Oh
actually had
God,
an
don't
interview.
even.
Here's a fun here's a fun story for everyone that's really quick. I had a guy who was like, I want an interview, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, I can do that. And I said, it's set for this week at this time, be ready. He said, yeah, I can do all that, I have it off, blah blah blah. So he was streaming like 10 minutes before he's going on. So I said, hey, you gonna turn your stream off soon so we can, do the podcast. He's like, yeah, sure, sure. So then I go live, we're reacting, and he doesn't talk like literally half his interview, even when I'm asking him. Or it's like, so what made you get into this game? I don't know. I just picked it up one day, started playing it, and I got good. And I'm like, this is weird. And I go to his stream. He was still streaming, and our podcast was on his channel. And
Oh my
people,
God.
I was so mad. I was like, could you have just advertised it to my channel to be nice to as a thank you? Like, and so and then no joke, he leaves halfway through his interview. He's like, "Hey, I'm
Oh,
gonna get going. I ended my show, but I gotta get going. Bye." And I'm like, "This isn't your
oh my gosh.
podcast, you dick." And that's where
Oh,
I got annoyed because I'm
I'm so
like,
sorry.
I was like, because you get a lot of people like that when I was doing it. Like I got a lot of people that'll be distracted because they'll be playing a game or they'll be watching something
Yeah.
or something like that. And I'm like, I get it, to balance everything, but when some people watch or do something else, they get distracted and then they don't want
See,
to be
and I'm not
be
doing
involved.
anything right now but talking to you. You
Hmm.
have got my full attention,
Like the
because
only
that's
thing.
the polite
Hmm.
thing to do. When somebody invites you
Hmm.
on their podcast, you give them your attention. You don't go off and, oh, okay, well, I'm doing this. Okay, oh, hold on, this chat with. Okay, can we just, oh, I gotta go get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and I
No, no,
get
no.
that.
You take care of all of that stuff before the podcast,
Hmm.
and you sit down and you give that person your attention because they were nice enough to invite you
Hmm. And it makes me
and
laugh
talk to
too,
you.
because I'm just like,
Exactly.
Come on, I'm trying to help you, you jerk. So actually, there's something I want to ask you.
Sure.
Cause so I do a lot of research for anybody that's a guest of mine, or at least as far as I can, because I know some people are just newer, they don't really post everywhere, and I
Hmm.
fully understand. So that's why obviously I do these. But I did see something when I was browsing around that you like Mission Hill.
I love Mission Hill.
Now that honestly is so cool to me because Mission Hills, if you guys don't know, it's an old show that was on I think was it WB before Adult Swim or something like that. It was like
It
on
was on.
another
It was.
channel.
I think. I think it was on Adult Swim, or at least they showed the reruns on there. I don't know much about. I think it was on one of the bigger channels or something, and
Mhm.
they only posted like one episode, or I don't know the history behind it. I just know that it just flopped big time, and
Mhm.
Adult Swim picked it up.
But it was such a good show though, because like it was literally
Oh,
just
I
one of those real
know.
shows. Like I was saying,
It
the
had
only
so much potential. It
the
just,
only
and I
go
love
ahead.
Wally and Gus. I just adore Wally and Gus. It's just
You cheap gay bastard. These things are just gonna fly off.
you talk about everyone say you fight like an old gay couple. That's Wally and Gus.
And it makes me laugh too though, because like there's like nothing really unrealistic about the show except for like the one episode where he had a knife stuck in his head. Because like you can look it
Oh
up on
God.
YouTube. There was this episode where Gus, one of the two guys in the couple, literally he's like, oh, some guy tried to stab me, and he, it
Just
didn't
walking
work
with a
out
knife
for
in
him.
his head.
And he literally the whole episode had a knife in his head
Don't
until
fuss over it.
until they literally were like, okay, they like made a spectacle out of it and they got it out. But it just made me laugh because I'm like, honestly, if I saw some dude with a knife in his head, I would want to ask him a few questions.
But as far as for those who don't know the show, never heard of it, it's about two brothers, um, Andy and Kevin, and um, their parents are moving to Wyoming, so Kevin goes to live with his brother in Mission Hill, and it's supposed to be like this trendy, artsy town, um, and um, and it pretty much just hilarity ensues. And you've got the little roommate, you got all the roommates, you got Posey, who's kind of the hippie, and then you've got Jim, who's like Andy's best friend like from high school, and he's kind of one of those characters that he's just so mellow that half the time he doesn't know what the hell on. uh, and it's just if you haven't, you can actually find it on probably find it on YouTube or on one of the um streaming sites or whatever, if you want to get a better idea. But it was really cut down before it's just one of those shows that it has so much potential, and unfortunately it just didn't make it.
Man, that just I hate when that happens to a good show. Like when
Oh,
it's
I
a
know.
show, series, or anything where it gets cut down before it gets good,
Yeah.
and it happens too much though. But to honestly on the subject of series and stuff, what actually made you want to start doing like comics and stuff? Did you just wake up one day and be like, you know what? Pandas are cool. You know what else is cool? Comics. You know what I'm gonna do? They're gonna live in California and go on adventures.
The comic thing, well, the panda thing, first of all, was like, I like I said, I found the furry fandom, and there were like some artists, that one in which was Candy Palmer, and she was like one of my inspirations. I mean, she was, I remember I want to do art like her, and I want to have a character. I want to have a furry character too. So I ended up creating Panda Jenn at some point, and then the comic thing came a little later when I started seeing like Sabrina Online and the Vicky Fox comic. There was one comic in particular that really pushed me into it was a comic called Katina Manor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I thought, I want to do this. This is like fun. I want to do a comic about my characters. So I started like crafting some friends for Panda Jenn, and just a cast of characters for her to play off of. And I mean, eventually it just became what you see now.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't so much like I woke up like, oh, I want to make a comic. I just got inspired. It was like, that is so cool. I want to try it. And that's pretty much how a lot of my things come about.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's cool. I want to try that too. So, and it's just, and so at this point in my life, I'm in a place where I'm just kind of experimenting with different things and just seeing what sticks. So, my main priorities are like my comic right now and just trying to grow my brand and, like I said, just get involved with as many platforms as possible. I just started my YouTube channel.
And that's I like the intro to it because it made me think of like the Storytime people.
Oh, thank you.
I see, and those like that's like my favorite type of YouTube to watch
Oh, I know.
when I'm
I
in casual
get
mode.
addicted to those. I am addicted to those. I will sit and watch them for hours. And then meanwhile, I'm kicking myself going, I'm supposed to be working on this right now. What the hell am I doing? And oh, well, one more video. Just one more. Okay, one more.
Now here's a cool thing I've actually thought of. Have you ever thought of taking your comics and having them dubbed?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I really, really want to do. I really would like to try to somehow get this adapted into um, an audio play. Like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the SORP, the Sabrina online audio play, um, which was based on Eric Schwartz's Sabrina Online. It was, I guess it. I remember I heard that once, and I'm like, oh my god, I would love to have my comics dubbed someday as an audio play. So that's something that I am working towards at some point, but I want to get more comics up before I even start to think about going that route.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I do, it's I actually did do I did edit and create my own play. So I have some experience as to what kind of work goes into this sort of thing. And what it was a My Little Pony and Supernatural crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it is no longer on YouTube, so I don't have a link to show you guys or anything. I don't have a link to share anything, but what it was it was just a crossover, and it took me about 2 years to complete. Um, and it is a whole process. It does not happen overnight. You have to write a script, and you got to audition people, and then the whole editing process is just a whole thing in and of itself. And I would love to do it again, but if I do the Panda Gen online audio play, I have to go into it mindfully, you know, with okay, this is going to be a lot of work. People are going to expect episodes. So what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up getting a crew together,
Mm-hmm.
because with my first audio, I did all of it myself. I edited. I had someone help with the music and stuff because I was having trouble with that part, and it was my first one, so I was still learning. But I think for this, I'm going to end up having to get a whole crew, especially if it's going to be an episodic thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's completely fine. Like, cause every time I've tried to do like a crew with anything, it seems that people
Mm.
will lose interest or just not like do their stuff on time. And that's why there's times I'm
I've
like, I'm
had
just
that
gonna do
happen.
everything by myself. But then I realized, oh, this really sucks. It really, really
Uh,
sucks. And
I remember one of my and he had some personal stuff he had to deal with,
Mhm.
so I mean it's totally understandable. But one of the main characters, one of the two stars in the audio play I did, um, had to drop out.
Mhm.
And thankfully, I was smart and I had understudy for each character, so which was no problem. I had someone ready to go, and it actually and everything turned out great. But I know how that is when you have some problems, and I have done several projects, and not just audio plays, but I've had several projects that I've done with people where um and especially when you're working with a lot of people, it's like you're going to have some people that flake out, or um if I was commissioning a piece of art from somebody, I wouldn't hear from them for like a year, and finally I'd be
Oof.
like, well, what's going on, and oh well, I just didn't feel like doing it, or oh yeah, this happened, and just so at which point I get my money back. But it was like it was always something, so it does get frustrating, but you have to be willing to work through the frustration to have a finished product that you're proud of.
And that's extremely true because the thing is that I'm more of a musician when it comes to creating stuff. Like, I would say the only thing I probably do right now is that I may or may not be working on some lo-fi stuff at the moment. That's a style of music, and it's an amazing, relaxing style of music.
Oh, I love lo-fi. I
And
love lo-fi. My friend Logan
mhm.
has a little lo-fi station that he's been working on. So
And in general, I've been doing that more than anything because to do anything else right now would require other people, and that means that I either have to be patient with them or find people, and or have to pay people. And I'm just like, I don't want to do any of that. But lo-fi takes like a keyboard and whatever else you want to add to it.
yeah,
And
you really need like an extra set of paws for that one, you know?
oh yeah, and that's why I tell people I'm just like, in general, I've taken a little hiatus from music while I'm learning chords and stuff like that because I'm just like, I don't want to go into it and then sound like a total nub when I perform it somewhere or like put it on YouTube and stuff, and I don't want it to
Yeah.
sound rushed. So I was like,
Yeah,
what?
you want to perfect your craft before you
Mhm.
share it with the world.
I mean, and that's all you gotta do. Is just you gotta decide on when you think the moment's right or when you think something is gonna be good. Because I always think it makes me laugh when I see musicians when they make an album or finish an album and they're like, this one's gonna really really suck and no one's gonna like it, and then it ends up being like their
No.
best album. And I'm like, because it's
Yeah.
just the same thing with artists. I've met so many artists that are
Mhm.
like, oh, this is just terrible, and it's like a Pablo Picasso piece of art, and I'm like, oh my god, man slash woman person, your art is phenomenal. I can't even draw a
Yeah,
straight
you
line.
either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
that's what
am,
art is.
and I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, it's the same thing with musicians. I've had people write songs and be like, yeah, the song really sucked. And I was like, dude, that's literally better than I've done in like the 20 plus years I've been on this earth.
Oh
So,
man.
it's just, I don't know. I think in general, when it comes to creativity like that, you always are hard on yourself because you're
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
this
I've
is,
never met an
mhm.
artist that has actually been happy with her own work.
No.
My cousin, he's a really talented artist,
Mhm.
and I would be um watching. I'd be, he showed me something, and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to? Hey, check this out," And I go, "Hey, that's really good," and he says, "No, it sucks."
Yeah,
It's no, it sucks.
it
And so
sucks.
I'm sitting there going, "No, it's great. It's way better than I can do."
Nah, and that's always what I've told people though. I'm like, even in general, it's funny. I guess to be on the subject of this, it's funny too because there's times where I'll be browsing somewhere for like for based art or something, and I'll be like,
Mm.
there's some really really good stuff there, and then you may run across the things that make you go, and I've had that happen so many times because I'm like, it's like, oh man, that's good, oh, and I'm not anyone to kink or shame them for like who they are, but then there's
No.
still sometimes I was just like, oh dude.
See, this is how I approach something new.
Mhm.
See, and I'm very genuinely, I'm one of those people that I genuinely understand. People are starting out. There are people that are just starting out.
Mhm.
There are people who have, and people that, everyone has their own style. People get better at their own pace. And when somebody shows me something, and Jerry, and I'm not lying, I go,
Mhm.
you're a doggy.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
He agrees with you. He agrees.
I, I know this is my response, and I mean every word of it. I go, wow, that's really cool, and I'll say, just keep at it, and you're gonna get so,
Mhm.
especially if they say to me, oh, I don't think I'm not as good as you, or something. And usually what I say to that is, well, so what? I mean, I don't think my stuff's that great either, and just you just got started. Give yourself some time, and I promise you'll get, just keep at it. You'll get better. Just keep practicing. And I never tell people your art sucks or anything like that because that's
Mhm.
just mean. No, and it's exactly right. People
Mhm.
start when they're just starting out. I honestly, um, I really, oh
Mhm.
God, I had one of those days where you can't think of words.
Well, like in
Uh,
general, to
I have a
uh-huh.
lot of respect for art for people like that that
Mhm.
that that are brave enough to show what they show their art when they're just getting started out. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you go over there and you encourage them and you tell them that, keep at it, this is really cool, just keep going, and do keep do you. Don't listen. Don't even care about anyone when anyone else says. Don't compare yourself to other artists. You're just starting out, and you're gonna
Mhm.
get better.
And you
And
just
and that
don't.
is the
Good.
honest to God truth. You don't I can't stand people who belittle artists that like I said, are brave enough to show their first pieces of work
Mhm.
because geez, don't be such a troll. This person, they're
Mhm.
just getting started. Give them a little encouragement.
Well, my favorite thing was I was watching this thing about it was called like commission or something, and basically it was literally just this little animation about someone making art for the first time for money,
Hmm.
and so it had them
Yeah.
like the first thing they had they had people that are like I want free art, and they're like of course you have that, and then they had someone who got the sketch but then they didn't want to pay for the full piece, and then they didn't get anyone for like 3 weeks, and then my favorite one is
Oh,
it's like at the end she's like she gets a commission for like something dirty. She's like, "Oh, okay." She draws it, and the guy pays for it in full, no issues. And then literally the rest of her commissions were all like adult pieces. She's like,
oh,
"Ugh."
jeez.
And I'm like, it's sad
Hey,
though because,
She found something that worked.
but it's a sad thing though. Think about it. Adult art in this kind of community makes probably the most money to think
uh,
about it like this. But
you know what? I have no issue with the adult art. I do it too.
mhm,
I mean, in the beginning, I was really like
eh about it.
not so much against it. I
Uh
wasn't
huh.
against it, but I was like, oh gosh, I don't think I could ever do that. Um, and then sometime later, I kind of just sort of dipped my toes into it and was like, okay, actually, wow, this is fun. Dude, I love it.
And it,
It feels
mhm.
liberating.
There's nothing wrong with it, and I told that to people right now.
No.
If you're into that or you're into something that's just art based like that, like don't don't worry about it because yes, you're gonna get the trolls, you'll get this and that, but that's people
Yeah.
wasting their time in life being like, I'm gonna look up stuff that I don't like so I can complain about it. Ooh, I know where to start first.
Yeah, I very openly commission
Mhm.
adult art. Of course, with some limits,
Details.
of course.
Yeah, I think
Certain
everyone.
limits. Yeah,
Mhm.
but no, I mean, not only am I open it, because
Mhm.
I mean, truth be told, I do have fun drawing it. I won't lie, I do.
Yeah, and that's just what I told everyone. It's just everybody's different. Everybody likes different things, and you should never really shun someone, even if it's not your thing. Like, there's a community and a bunch of people there for that. Let them enjoy them. If you don't like it, literally just go away. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. If it's,
No one's forcing you to look at it. Just you can't say
mm,
anything nice. Don't say nothing at all.
I mean, and I'll tell this to people too. It's like I'm one of those people where it's like if it doesn't harm someone or they're not doing something super bad like that IRL, then
Hmm.
don't bother them. If it's like something that doesn't hurt or cause problems, then just don't bother them. I mean, I've seen much worse, from people not in the community. There's a lot worse things you
Yeah.
can do in post, like
Yeah.
the best example for that is just if you really want to feel like really hate humans, just go on like 4chan for like 10 minutes and
Oh
you'll
God.
hate the entire human race like really
Oh God.
quickly.
I prefer to avoid 4chan. Thank you.
I think Reddit too. Reddit kind of makes me get irky too, because Reddit has a
I
lot of
actually
nasty
just
stuff.
got a Reddit account, but I have no plans of ever actually using it. I don't even know why I got the account to begin with.
But in general though, the thing is, like I said, I like the people in this community more than anything. Like I'm not really into
Mhm.
it for like the art. I'm not really into it for this or that. I just like talking to people. It's just the people in here are really cool. It feels good to talk to people that are like on my bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like when I talk to anyone else, it's like I have to watch what I say. I have to like be. I can't say this. I can't say that. I can't mention this. And then I could just be like, "Hey,
Uh,
did you see that one girl? Yeah, that one movie on Lifetime about the girl. Yeah."
uh,
Like, I mean, I get a lot of some guys that are like chick chasers or like whatever they're called, and I'd be like, eh. I because like my friend was talking to me about this, so how he found a comic one time where it had like two kids, like three kids talking about their first crushes, and it has like one guy being like, yeah, my first crush was Lucy Liu because of Charlie's Angels. Another one be like, yeah, mine was so and so from this movie because she was really cute. And he's like, what about you, James? What was your favorite first crush? And it has like a picture of Gidget from Chippendales Rescue Rangers. And I was
Gadget.
like, that was me. That was like me
That
as a
was another
kid.
show I really liked growing up.
And that was like me as a kid though
Have
too,
you
'cause
seen like? I mean, there's so much like gadget art. When I say art, I'm trying to be
art.
art out there, and it's like.
Well, I mean, by the
And don't get me wrong. A lot of it's really great, and I'm not squeamish about the
Mhm.
adult stuff, like I said. Um, but it's just oh my. I'm sitting here thinking, my God, I loved that show when I was a kid.
Well, my favorite thing to say was
The whole
like,
time I'm looking at this picture of Gadget bearing her everything.
well, my thing is like when I meant by when I was a kid, it wasn't the whole fur aspect. It was more of just I was a weird kid, so like I never really had like a crush on anything or anyone. I would just be like, am I supposed to like this? I kind of have to figure this out because I've always
No,
been just.
not me. If I saw a
Mhm.
character I liked on a show,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
if I saw a character that I liked on a show, God, when I crushed hard.
And that's the thing with me. It's just like in general, it's like I never really had crushes. I'd just be more like I like the design, and that's like always is my downfall. Cause so like I don't play Fortnite any way, shape, or form. But there's like a lot of times where I look at the characters and be like, I love the art in this. Like
Oh
I
God.
love the art and the designs and stuff that people do. But, like I don't like the game. I don't play the game, but I do like the art. And like people like kind of don't know how to respond to that, and I'm like, yeah, there really isn't. It's not that I like Fortnite, not that I hate Fortnite. I like
Mm.
the art. The art is cool.
I totally get it. I get it.
And I guess this is in general how I've always been, just because I'm like, I'm not really a fan of anyone or anything, because it's just I always worry about, I'm always one of those people like I'm gonna get crushed by my crush, and then I'm not gonna enjoy it anymore.
Uh,
And
See the thing about crushing on a non-existent person,
hmm
you know, on a fictional character, is that you never have to worry about them hurting you, because you can pretty much build up in your in your imagination,
it,
like through your
hmm
fan fiction and your artwork and stuff, and they can pretty much be whatever you want them to be. They can react
hmm
to you a certain. You never have to worry about them, breaking your heart.
It makes me laugh too, just because I've seen some people though that like it's like it's cool to have a crush on a fictional character and stuff. Like a lot of people do it. Even shoot, I know people that are like they'll watch like let's say Breaking Bad or something. And think Walter White's the absolute
Oh,
dad man,
that
and I'm
show.
like, yeah, he's a good dad, and someone will crush on him. Like, yeah, but he's a character, so blah blah blah. But to go into what I was about to say was that I've met some people though that will crush too hard on a character, and they'll get mad if someone draws like them shipped with their
Oh,
character or doing that.
I've had that happen.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
dude.
remember. Like I said before, I was really into Digimon,
Mhm.
and like my big Digimon slash anime crush was Yamato Ishida,
Mhm.
Matt Ishida, for those that are more familiar with the dub. And oh God, I would post pictures of my OC, my Digimon OC,
Mhm.
and I would have emails. I mean, I would get like a few. I think I only got maybe a few of them, but I would emails or messages on my guest book from some girl going, "You stay away from Matt. He's mine." Like, whoa, okay,
And it's just
I'm staying away from you.
God, it's just funny though, because I'm like, how much of them do you own, huh? How much,
Oh,
And it makes me laugh too, because I'm like, there's like two owners when there's a fictional character, the voice actor or actress, and the company.
mm-hmm.
Because
Oh,
that's funny that because there are some people out there that actually don't know that, but if you're a
if I
voice
crushed on a
actor,
character, I crushed on the voice actor
mhm,
too.
yeah, I don't know,
Oh
in
my
like
goodness.
general, it always makes me laugh though, because I'm like, you don't own a character and da da da, and that's where this one guy, I was reading an article about a guy who tried to like he actually married her, but I don't think he fully like legally married her. he married a Hatsune Miku, and it was
Oh,
like
are you
a
talking about those websites that go marry your favorite character or something like that?
no, it was actually a real thing. Like it was this article. Like if I decide to edit, I'll put up a little picture of the guy and the girl and Miku. But he legitimately he has like one of those Miku hologram things you can buy. They're really expensive, but
Ooh.
he literally had a full blown wedding and like guests and all
Oh
and
my
everything, and
gosh.
he married Miku, and I'm like,
All
you
I can
know,
all I can think of is, God, how much did this cost him?
it did, and it's
Weddings ain't cheap.
well, there's those people though that do they fall in love more with something imaginary and fictional more
Oh,
than a
have
real
you heard the story
person.
about? I'm sorry. Have you heard the story about the woman who's married to the Eiffel Tower?
There's a guy who thinks
Yeah.
he's legally married to Twilight Sparkle too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I know this stuff goes on, but you still hear about it, and you're like,
oh
wow, really?
man.
And I'm not judging these people
No,
or
no, no,
anything.
no,
I'm
no.
not at all. I just it's just one of those things that it's just you can't even believe it.
It seems just uncommon, and that's what I've told people,
No,
and that's
exactly.
what I've told people like how the community is. It's if it's
Mm.
uncommon and strange, then people will, frown upon you against it. It's like
It's taboo.
yeah, I'm not the leather jacket dirt bike riding kid in high school. I was like, no, I was watching as much weird stuff and being the weird kid as possible because I was just in general I love geeky culture. It makes me giggle, and the
Yeah.
people
Oh
in it are
yeah.
much nicer because I don't have to worry
And
about.
thankfully, there's an
Mhm.
entire community of people who agree with you.
Yes, there's dozens of us.
Oh yeah. Put all the Star Wars fans and the comic book. Put them all together. Hell, I mean that's why they have comic. You know.
It makes me laugh actually since so My Little Pony actually recently finished their series,
They did.
and
Oh my gosh, I cried.
it made me
I
laugh though
couldn't handle it. I
because
couldn't handle it.
it made me laugh though because here's the thing: there was a lot of people that took their horse sonas or whatever, and they made them into furry like style because they're like,
Really?
oh yeah, like literally they just said screw it and they came to the furry community and like for good. It just made me giggle
Oh
though
yeah.
because I'm like,
I've seen those.
because there's so many bronies that were like, we're not furries, we don't associate with furries, blah 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 blah, and then like half the community goes to be a furry. It's like, mm-hmm.
Oh goodness. Well, I have a pony. It's what they're called. It's usually what
Uh-huh.
we call our it's like we have a first sona, we have a pony sona, and I do have a pony sona. Her name is Palette, and she's basically just Panda Jenn in pony form.
Panda Pony. Why is that
Yep.
not a show yet? That's just like you're
I, I,
gonna.
I, I eagerly await I eagerly await Generation 5.
I would
Gen
actually.
5.
I know, and that's what it just should be though. The Panda Pony show. Just
Panda
like
Pony.
you, and then the pony,
I
and you.
think that would get pretty boring pretty fast.
I think any kind of like old sitcom like that would just get boring
I think
now.
if there was like a species or race of panda ponies, that would be interesting.
Yeah, you just paint a pony. I'm pretty sure there's already black and white ponies, so you can technically just get like one of those. Just get like one of those Dalmatian ponies and then call it Panda. And thank you,
Thanks.
Jen. Thank you, Jen, for coming out for the
No,
cast.
thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I mean, I had a lot of fun. I'm not really new to podcasts, but I'm newer to this style of podcast. So thank you for bearing with me.
You did beautifully.
Thank you. I'm gonna.
I hope that you'll actually do more podcasts in the future. You're very good at it.
Thank you. I do plan
You're
on
welcome.
them. I do plan on them. I just have to see if I can get other people or just learn to do it by myself because it's so much harder to talk to myself because I'm not like Bill Burr good at talking to myself yet, but I might get there at some point. Oh, he's a comedian. He's hilarious. So, but anyway, thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it. Because like I said, I'll try to upload this very soon. If it doesn't come out immediately this week, it should be out by next week as soon as I can get art, get GIFs or whatever I can put on the screen for you guys. Thank you guys again. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.